Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Sammy, United People's TV. I got a bit of a smile on my face this morning. I don't know why. I think it's been a bit of a rough 10 days, I think. 10 days? Yeah, they're thereabouts. But I'm feeling more chipper now. We've got the City game coming up on Saturday. I'm going to run through Carrick's first training session. Amad and Mbeumo being back in training. Thank you, God. We'll speak about that. We'll run through all the latest news. And I'm going to have a full conversation with you this morning about the 1958's protest that's coming up. We'll do everything we can to support here, United People's TV. I was there for the Liverpool protest. Will I be there for the Fulham one? Oh, I wouldn't rule it out. But I'm going to run through it all because I want to ask you what we can do. Yeah, there's something I want to pose to the community this morning. I'll say hello to everybody. We'll get on with today's show. We'll run through the news. How are you all doing? Let me know in the chat. Let me say hello. Good morning to some of the mods. We've got Maddie. We've got JC and Ant. We've got Steph. We've got Alex as well. Full mod army here down here this morning. Ant saying positivity peeps. Look, effectively I will just kind of speak the truth. If it's shit, I'll say it is. If it's good, I'll tell you why it is. I don't think I'd ever just be positive for the sake of positive, but I will always try and take a glass half full approach. Sometimes it's not always possible, I'll be honest. United's got me down. United's getting us all down. Anyway, who else is here? Craig, Eric, we've got Gungshi, good morning to the man himself. We've got Volpez, we've got Kevy, we've got some non-members as well. We've got Bulgaria, 189. We've got the whole country there. We've got Gav, we've got Josie Graydon, we've got Tino, Eze, who's not playing for Arsenal, so he's coming in the chat here. Nice guy. Avad and Marco, good morning to all of you. All right. Shall we get on with today's show? And start off with a congratulations, actually, because Mazraoui's Morocco, they beat Nigeria on penalties. I didn't watch the game. It was a 0-0, and they went to pens. They won. They're going into the final to play Sadio Mane's Senegal after they beat Egypt 1-0, and it was Mane who scored. So a big congratulations to Mazraoui. And you know what? Man, I hope he wins it. Imagine that. I can't, because England have never bloody won a trophy since 1966. But imagine what it must be like winning an international tournament on your home turf. We had that chance, bloody hell. We had that chance. Anyway, let's not speak about that final under Southgate. But congratulations to Morocco. Congratulations to Mazraoui. And I really hope that he comes back as a winner. It will be an awesome moment for him. He'll probably put it down as one of the biggest and best days of his whole footballing career. A little bit annoying that we've not had Mazraoui the whole way through, but Amad and Mbeumo are back, so we'll speak about that. Man, I wish we could mobilise the global United fan base in such a way that it impacts these protests. It impacts these ownership in the same way that all of you are so mobilised. Like Gungshi gifting 20 memberships and Luke gifting 10. Both of you, thank you so much. I love what we've got going on here. I really do. And I really want to try and mobilise this community here, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But I want to move on to something which is a little bit more light-hearted. And it really is quite funny. So, anybody who's into any Turkish United fans, you in the chat here? Let me know. So I get asked on to TRT World to a little show called, I say a little show, it's just a segment called Beyond the Game. And I've spoken to them about, I don't know how many times over the last few years. I don't know, sometimes somewhere between 10 and 20 times. I'll be honest, 9 times out of 10, it's for a bad reason. So I went on yesterday, obviously, to speak about the fact that Amram's got sacked and then Fletcher's come in and then now Carrick's in. Like, what's going on at your football club? Had a chat to them. But they really caught me off guard by doing something. So I asked them to send me the video. And this is it. So this happened yesterday. It is quite funny. All right. Just have a little watch of this. A consequence of them getting all the big decisions wrong so far.
Man, you sound so disappointed and depressed. I'm sorry to do this, but now we've had you on Beyond the Game a few times, right? And I want to ask about the psychological element of talking about United, right? But we do have a montage. Watch this first.
Previously, if we'd reached this point before, we just repeat the cycle. We'd sack a manager in his third season, we'd start again. It'll be a good first season, honeymoon, second season questions, third season, they get sacked.
The problem at Manchester United has always been deeper than the coach. Erik ten Hag is not a bad coach, but he certainly looked like one towards the end. Jose Mourinho, does that make him a terrible coach? The fact that he didn't succeed at United? No, it doesn't. Same thing for Van Gaal. It's like you either come in mid-season or you don't become United manager. So he knew what he was walking into. He predicted the storm. And just like every manager before him, he's suffered with a lot of the same players and some different players, some new players. If Ineos have shown they won't be knee-jerk on this, I think they keep reiterating that Ruben Amorim is a long-term project. But for the long-term to exist, the short-term has to show signs of development. And I think that's all the United fans want. I think if Ruben Amorim continues down the path he's currently on, I think he'll lose his job.
I think we can call you a genie now, right?
There's three of me on screen there, but that completely caught me off guard, right? I had to laugh at it, as I said. The production team, I spoke to them after, and they were just cracking up on the phone. It does suck. It completely sucks. But it was done in a little bit of jest, and I had to laugh at that. So that just, I don't know, it was funny. Anyway, I hope that there's something a little bit less crap to talk about when it comes to United. And I think I want to start today's show. Before we go into the news, I can see that you're all enjoying that in the comments. That music was really quite funny. They did do me dirty. Bastards. I'll get him back. I want to speak about this, right? So, the 1958. If I was to speak about the 1958 and what they've done so far in terms of organising United protests, from the very first ones, I thought they did an incredible job at mobilising United fans and doing it on a more regular basis than anything that existed before. I think when it came to, I can't remember when it was. Was it about 3 months ago or so? I can't remember exactly. When they did a protest, which was kind of built around Jim Ratcliffe, I think. And it didn't go down well. I think the messaging was confused. And they ended up cancelling the protest. Because like a lot of the moderate United fans were just looking at it going, it's just a bit wrong. Like the way that that's been worded, the way that that's been done, it's just a bit strange. What's happened now is the 1958 has reached out to, look, United is a global club. There are countless accounts that have massive amounts of reach, and we've got a huge platform here together. So this is the question I want to ask you. For this Fulham game that's coming up, there's a protest that's planned. Okay? And a statement's been released. I say it is a statement, really, sort of explaining what the protest is, why the protest is happening, with the hashtag United is broken, right? I want to ask you something here, okay? I think there's power in protest. I don't think there is power in protest. Will we ever be able to, as a football club, storm Old Trafford and get a game cancelled again? I don't personally think so. I think that United will be putting on such a presence, police presence, I just don't think that will happen again. There was an opportunity that was taken, and I don't think that will happen again. I think alongside the way that I was trying to think about this before the show is like, if you're in an election and you're trying to get elected, there might be one way that you sort of guarantee you get votes. But ultimately, if you want to win the election, there's going to be loads of different ways that you do things. And you do them all at the same time. And then when you combine them all together, the sum of the parts is bigger than simply just doing one thing. So my question to you is, because I saw on Twitter, somebody shared I don't know. I couldn't find the post again this morning. I was looking for it. Somebody shared like a LinkedIn post of loads of Glazer siblings, probably nieces and nephews and members of the Glazer family who, you know, they're not guilty directly. Unfortunately for them, they're guilty by association. But businesses that they run. Like, I want to ask you, like, what do you honestly think can be done? Because if we've learned one thing about the Glazers over these years, and I'm going to speak about the Glazers mainly here, and I will speak about Ineos, of course. They're, would I say thick-skinned? They just have the ability to switch off from it because of where they live. Now, the dividends have been cancelled. They're not gaining anything directly from the football club. And I'm going back to this, right? Going back to them taking the piss out of me and all the videos that I've done over these years. My scorn towards, because I did this yesterday, right? 1 second here. Anybody who's been a follower of United People's TV for long enough will know how much stuff that I've done on this channel against the ownership. Anybody who's followed from the start with Ineos will know that I supported a change. It wasn't the whole change that I wanted to see at the club. But if I was to now speak and look back on what I've seen, instead of Manchester United's problems being fixed by Ineos, Manchester United's problems have now changed. When it came to the Glazers, it felt like the problem was inaction. There was just nothing. Lived in the shadows, didn't do anything. Right? The problem was that they just did sweet FA. Ineos have come in and have done a fair amount. I'm going to separate the business side of things because, truth, I don't give a crap about the business side of things. I just care how it impacts the football club. But we've gone from an ownership which doesn't do anything to an ownership that does things but makes the wrong decisions. And that's what's pissing me off. That's where my anger is towards Ineos. And it will always annoy me when people try and group the Glazers and Ineos together like they are equally as evil. Because it massively undermines the damage that the Glazers have done over these last 20 years. They are in a sphere of their own. But Ineos are going down that path in terms of the anger from the fan base. So I'm asking you, I'm going to go down and read some of the chats because you've been talking for a few minutes. What do you think the online portion of the United fan base can actually do that might have a tangible impact? And what can we do? And this is why I'm going to ask, this is why I say things might be a little bit different. Maybe not a little bit different, but with us here. So, right, we've got an email, community@United People's TV. We've got Maddie and we've got Alex now, who are heading up that side of things. If you think you can get involved and you want to get involved and you've got ideas, reach out to that email. Let's see if we can start things in the background as a community together and do something. I don't know what this is. And it may be like a drop in the ocean. It may have sweet FA impact. But these are the conversations that we should be having and could be having. And I'm actually probably going to start doing some more content because that's something that I know I can do. People watch content. People consume content. And content can, well, it can sometimes sway people. It's kind of what it does. Sometimes it's brain rot. I try and avoid sort of brain rot. But I've already told you the video I'm going to be producing. I'm going to call it The Lies of Jim Ratcliffe at Manchester United. And I'm going to just run through all the official interviews that he has done, things that he said he's going to do, and has then not done, or done the complete opposite. Just pure evidence, pure fact. Nothing to do with opinion. And that's probably going to be how I keep my... I don't just want to do a video, just me spouting and shouting about... Some videos I might do that. But I don't think those ones are going to make any sort of impact because it's just going to be emotions riding high. But if you can be clean cut about it and just speak about facts and just do those videos, I think those ones have the ability to go a little bit further, to hit home a little bit harder because you can't deny them. That's what I'm going to do. Anyway, I'm going to go and read out some of your comments here. I think it was a couple of super chats there. Yeah, I just want to speak about it. And you're saying that for me, the issue is 1958 do not truly represent a fan base. Bunch of old blokes sit in the shed, pipes and moan. I think that's a bit unfair. But one thing when it comes to any... Look, Manchester United supporters, Dross, I'm sure there's plenty of you that are frustrated at the lack of action that's come through that from them. Because they have to keep a dialogue with the club. So it does make it difficult for them to balance those two things at the same time. And then the 1958, they certainly represent part of the Manchester United fan base. But the Manchester United fan base is so bloody big that it is impossible to have somebody that represents all Manchester United fans. It's just not possible. It's too big. Yeah, exactly, Gonk. That's what I'm trying to do. Facts are facts and you can't argue with them. I don't want to do these videos and just like lump them with my opinion on this and that. I just want to do irrefutable things that my opinion might change and sway, but you can't argue with this because you said you were going to do this and this has happened. You've lied. You said this was going to happen, but this has happened. You've lied. That's what I'm going to focus on because then you can't really have a go at me. The club can't have a go at me because I'm just talking about the facts. I'm highlighting things that have happened. Right, let me see what you're saying down here in the chat. Glenn saying, if the ownership changes and performances don't improve, then what? Will sections of the fan base realise that they might be part of the problem? Constant toxic bashing of the players. I think that's part of the reason why I like modern football less. It's not just like people want instant gratification, but like football Twitter is just about constantly shouting down others and getting attention for it. So therefore, the louder that you shout, you might not... I'll be honest, I think half of football Twitter doesn't believe what it says. But it says it because it knows it will create attention. And it's the same, like, being famous and being infamous is the same thing to a lot of people online. They don't care why someone's looking at them. They just care if someone's looking at them. That's the most important thing. I'm not going to do it. What is doing? Rafa Benitez, go green screen, just sit there and have a little press conference. Just speaking through facts here. All right, number one, get the glasses on. Let me see what else he's saying down here. Having to change manager isn't that deep. If you're looking for owners who get every decision right, who will never have to sack a manager, good luck. Hey, Darren. I mean, mate, what, you trying to take the piss out of United fans here? No one's saying that we are expecting a set of owners who are going to come in and get gold and gold, every single decision incredible. But we are also not expecting an ownership who's going to hire a sporting director, wait 3-4 months for his gardening leave to finish, and then sack him before that, even less time. And then decide to keep a manager, speak to other managers behind his back, then keep that manager, give him a new contract, and sack him 3 months later. And then bring in someone mid-season, then say you're going to be giving him 3 years, and then sack him 14 months later. Indecision. No, it's not indecision. It's just wrong decisions. The big ones, they've got pretty much all of them wrong. So no one's expecting everybody to get every decision correct. I'll tell you one thing we've improved on. It's certainly transfers. It feels like it for me anyway. Right, down here. Look, as I said, please do reach out. All right? You're members of the community. There might be some ideas that you have that we could use. that's why we've got Maddie and Alex there to sort of be the bastions of the community. The email is community@unitedpeoples.tv. Now, truth be told, doing this probably will reduce the chances of me ever getting the opportunity to work with the club at some point, which is something that's always been a bit of an ambition of mine. But I will always speak about what I feel is the truth. I'm not doing this because I'm not just doing this or saying this for the sake of it. When Ineos came in, I spoke about the things they were getting right. I spoke about the communication. I spoke about, and I've done the videos on Barada and his career, and I've supported. It's not as if I haven't done it blindly. I've looked at the reasons they've brought people in and thought, this might actually work. This might actually change. But then it's about creating accountability. And that's what all the content I'm going to do around the ownership over these next probably 3 months or so is all going to be for. And you're saying that ultimately if Ineos can get things right on the pitch, nobody gives a damn what happens off it. Everyone knows that. It's the same thing I've said about Carrick, about Fletcher, about Amram. The reason that there's so much attention to everything that exists around Manchester United is because we're not winning games of football. When you're winning games of football, look, we had the Glazers in for 7 years. Under Fergie. 7 years under Fergie? 2005, 2013. 8 years. There was a lot of anger. Protests happened at the same time. But the reason that the Glazers were able to exist in the way that they did under Fergie, because we went through our best ever 3-4 year period of football. There were still protests going on. When they traded the bonds back, huge protests. I'm not saying the protests did not happen, but there wasn't as much scorn toward... There wasn't as much energy towards the scorn. The scorn was there, but you could bury it with results. And for Fergie, he loved it. Because the Glazers did absolutely nothing and he could just control everything. Now that you've not got that and you've not got the results, and United are, let's be honest, a bloody mid-table club, there's a lot more spotlight elsewhere. And I'm going to run through something which maybe quite important, but sort of reflective. I suppose it's not important to Manchester United, but certainly worth a conversation. And then we'll move on and we'll speak about Carrick, training, and the City game. But I thought it was important to have a conversation about this today. Rex, I haven't seen many leaks from the current squad's players since Amram's sacking. What are your thoughts on that? What do you mean? That hasn't... I think people talk about... Do people talk about leaks too much? I don't know. I don't know whether people talk about leaks too much. I think it's always frustrating. Amram was getting really pissed towards the end. He was like... The one thing that really annoyed him was like, how on earth do you know about the fact that we've changed the system on the training ground? And I'd be annoyed about that. I wouldn't say like leaks have noticeably stopped because I don't think really anyone's been paying too much attention over these last 10 days or so because it's been madness. We've had one manager sacked, one interim manager in, and then another caretaker manager in. Ask me in a few weeks' time. And like, John, like, get in the bin, mate. Like, get in the bin. In fact, you can have a little day off for that. 1 second here. Put user in a timeout. See you in 24 hours, mate. If you leave a comment saying, I've got no problem getting violent. Yeah, some of the best protests in the world are violent. Yeah, let's get violent. Like, you are a fucking idiot. Because as soon as you do that, the club wins. As soon as you do that, you watch how the whole narrative changes. Every newspaper comes in. Violent United fans. Mobs. Disgusting. You're an idiot for suggesting anything like that. Go and sit on the naughty step for 24 hours, mate. Because as soon as you do that, United fans lose any power of protest. Don't listen to that whopper of opinion. Whopper of an opinion. I'm calling that one out. I don't care. Jeez. Anyway, let's move on here. Would you say this isn't, I suppose, directly important, but reflective of what's going on with Ratcliffe away from Manchester United that might indirectly be affecting Manchester United. Ineos put Nice up for sale last year. Was it like Lazarus or something? I don't know, some sort of third party that they're using. But Bloomberg are reporting this morning saying that Jim Ratcliffe cuts price for Nice. All right. Jim Ratcliffe has slashed the asking price for Nice, according to people with knowledge on the matter. He'd been seeking more than 200 million euros for Nice, but apparently he's cut the price. I don't know what that is. I don't know what the price is. But Ineos are trying to get rid of Nice, and are trying to do it at a cut price now. Ineos and their debt, in terms of the... I don't even know what's going on. Oh, the petrol. I don't really follow the petrochemical news. I'll be completely honest. But that's happening as well. Someone's saying that's cheap. Johnny, it's reflective of the value of clubs in Ligue 1, or certain clubs, versus the value of clubs in the Premier League. Like, I think... Was it DAZN that signed... I think the broadcast deal was like 500 million euros. And I don't know how... I could do it 500 million euros. But I don't know how many years that was over, but I just know from a broadcast perspective, it's significantly less than what you get in the Premier League. I thought it was inevitable. I said it at the time. I'm not surprised to see this happen. I thought it was inevitable that when they brought... I say it's inevitable because I suppose you want to step back from that a little bit, because I think Ineos actually want the multi-club model. Just can't afford it right now, I suppose. Right, what's going down here? I suppose we can run through this. This has come out 6 minutes ago. I've not actually read this. Seeing as we're having this conversation. Bear in mind, 1 second here, that this happens regularly. This isn't This isn't a response to everything that's happened so far. But Ratcliffe is flying into Carrington to meet with Joel and Avram Glazer. Co-owners due to attend Carrington for the exec committee meeting. First time the Glazers are at the new main building. Chance to speak to Carrick. Yeah, I hate the multi-club model as well, by the way, Dave. I wish it never existed. I wish it was banned. But they've let... the horses bolted on that one. Same sort of thing with state ownership. Should never have happened. They can't stop it now. Anyway, let's see what Laurie Whitwell's reporting on this. Jim Ratcliffe is flying into Manchester to meet with Joel and Avram Glazer. United's co-owners are set for face-to-face talks at Carrington to discuss the latest developments of the club after Amram and Carrick's appointment. Location of the summit has been moved to Manchester to avoid upheaval for United's football leadership team. They're usually held in Monaco. It'll be the first time that the Glazer arseholes have visited the new main building, have not put a penny of their own money into restructuring the club. Typically take place every month. So, oh, great. That's it. I suppose there's not really too much to speak about there. Glazers are flying in. Good. Not. Unlucky, Mike. You're going to have to shake the hand of a human salamander. It still annoys me. Annoys me so. How can you be that rich and have hair that crap as Avram Glazer? Like, imagine that. Like, you're a millionaire, billionaire. I don't know how rich he is. Like, millions in the bank. How can you possibly let that happen? Like some kids just stuck a rat tail on the back of your head. Like, just get it sorted, you greasy git. Anyway, they're flying in conversations. But Michael Carrick, let's move on. That was just a half an hour chat about what's going on with the 58, what's going on with protests, and I'll say it one more time. If you have an idea, or if you think you want to be part of maybe how we can mobilize something, what could we do? I don't know what. It's just a conversation that could be had. Email us, community@UnitedPeoplesTV, and we can see what we can do together. For real, that hair just freaks me out, man. Anyway, Carrick. First pictures of Carrick taking a training session at Carrington. Put a little smile on your face, but you want to come with... Should we come with a positive story for today? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Amad's back in training. And Mbeumo's back in training. Now, if that's not worth a like on the video, I don't know what will be. We've missed them bad. Like bad. I feel a little bit for Ruben Amorim that during those games towards the end, when he ended up being sacked, his two best players weren't there. Circumstance. But both should be in the squad to face City. I'm guessing, because they trained yesterday. So I'm guessing they're going to be... I suppose we'll find out tomorrow. Gonk, that is the question, really. You're saying it's positive news, but how can we fit both in the team? Like, I'm sure you saw the video that I did. Well, I kind of ran through the starting 11 for Carrick. The system that he has. The 4-2-3-1 shape that he has. Ends up being 3 at the back a lot because you push 1 fullback forward. The only way I see Amad and Mbeumo fitting into that system is if Amad, on paper, is down as a right back. Or the other way, which is, I'm not sure whether this works, but the other way could be playing Amad as the number 10 with Mbeumo on the right, and then you actually get Bruno deeper. Maybe alongside Kobe, maybe alongside Ugarte or Casemiro, I don't know. But the only two ways I see it working. Number one, Amad is a right back that pushes forward, and then the left back actually tucks in to make the 3 at the back when you press in. Or number two, Amad plays as number 10, and Bruno drops deeper. Yeah, Rory, look, I know it's a little bit mental when you say it like that. But both of them want to play in the right wing position. Only one of them can. You could... In theory, you could play Mbeumo on the left-hand side. Cunha's not been in the greatest of form, let's be completely honest. His first touch is mad. Sometimes it's great, and then sometimes it's like bouncing 5 yards. Like some of that, I thought 3 at the back wasn't the United way. I'm not... Dude, don't try and wind me up. Come on. Like, just be United fans here. Like, go and wind up other fans. You know it's not a 3 at the back system. It's going to be a back 4. 1 fullback pushes up, and when that happens... The other fullback comes across, just tucks in. Then it makes 3. Rather than a full-on 3 centre-backs the entire game. It's a different thing. I'm going to run through it in my Start 11 video. It's going to go out today. Both of them are back in training. What happens, I don't know in that Start 11. I'll be completely honest. I thought this was a class photo that came out of training yesterday. How many trophies is there? I've got no idea. Someone asked ChatGPT. But that's some experience. Casemiro, he's had a better season than I thought he was going to have. But my opinion will not change on Casemiro. On what Manchester United should be doing next season. If I was to have one hope. Well, to be honest, I've got a lot of hopes for Michael Carrick. And what will actually change. But I really hope that Michael Carrick can somehow get more of a tune out of our midfield than we've had before. Somehow. Whether that's down to coaching and telling players to play slightly differently. Maybe you should stand here instead of doing that. I didn't think of that. Maybe from a coaching perspective. Maybe from a setup perspective. There should be a little bit less running in the Carrick midfield system required because you're playing with a number 10 that can drop in to make a midfield 3. So you shouldn't get as isolated as much. Powers, you're saying 40 trophies. I don't know how many trophies it is. It's a bloody lot. It's a lot of trophies between those two. I hope our midfield can, whether that's closing the gaps between the midfield and the defence and midfield and the attack. You know what it is, staying more compact. Therefore, you know full well, you have to cover less ground. I don't know what it is. But anyway, that's a cool photo. There's Johnny Evans as well. Is that Jack? Is it Tyler? Question mark, question mark. I got no idea. I'm going to go for Jack. Is it Jack? Has one of them got a bit? I'm going Jack. Cunha on the left. Amad there. Heaven. Starman Wilcox did not tell Carrick that Mainu must play. But there's a little photo here. There he is. There's Cobbs. Quick question here. All right. Who would you say are the two biggest winners in this Man United squad simply by the arrival of Michael Carrick? It's got to be Mainu, right? Mainu's got to be number one. Who would you say is number two? Would I say... I don't know whether I put Šeško, but if you look at Latte Latte and Chuba Akpom, in Carrick's system in the Championship, like, boy, he got those guys scoring goals galore. So maybe you could say, well, Šeško, because hopefully he'll follow that path, and then the system itself will be geared towards creating a lot more chances for him. I'm definitely saying Mainu. A lot of you are saying Šeško down there. Lacey? Well, I'll be honest, Lacey made his debut prior to his arrival. I'm not sure about that one. Camerson at right back. I don't know about that. Bruno's a winner. Like Glennie's saying, Šeško's a winner. Why? Who else is going to play up top? It's not about game time here, dude. The biggest frustration that we've had, really, with Šeško is the fact that he hasn't had enough chances. What game was it? Was it Burnley? He had 7 shots in that game. But we were creating. We were giving him the ball. Nearly got a hat-trick too. Mazraoui, someone saying down there. Bruno back to his number 10. Yeah, maybe Bruno. I'd definitely go Cobby. And I might go Šeško. Maybe you go Bruno too. Possibly Yoro playing with a back 4 instead of a back 3. I think that might be quite interesting. I mean, how often have we seen Yoro playing at... Yoro's had a really strange season, man. Maybe reflective of Manchester United. I always think that players are very reflective of the club circumstances. Always. Which I don't think is too much of a surprise, really. But he started the season off really well. I thought, anyway. Pre-season, he was looking really good. First couple of games, he was looking good as well. Right-sided centre-back. In the back 3. That's his position. But he's probably going to be more comfortable playing in the back 4. Cantona asking there about Ugarte. I haven't heard anything on Ugarte in Turkey. As I said to you the other day, I can't imagine we're going to be having many conversations about transfers in January. Just don't really see it happening. Now, I said to you I wouldn't be speaking about the Bruno conversation or just the whiffy news. Oh, Bruno wants to leave. Bruno's had enough of Manchester United. Let's react to this, let's be honest, guff headline. I know. Kel's surprise. The BBC is saying the opposite. Imagine my shock. Pretend to be shocked, Sam. This is what Simon Stone from the BBC is saying. Bruno is not planning to seek a move away from the club this month. Reports have emerged in recent days suggesting Fernandes is considering his future following dismissal of Amorim. However, sources with an understanding of the situation say that despite the upheaval, which led to Fletcher and Carrick obviously coming in, it was always his plan to reassess his situation in the summer when he will have 1 year left on his contract. I don't know whether the other reports were actually saying that Bruno was going to try and leave in Jan, but again, I will always say this to you. A lot of content and content creation is about choices. You don't have to react to everything simply because it's there. You can just let it quietly exist in the corner. Go away. I'm not covering that crap. Bruno was... Do I think that Bruno could leave in January? No, I don't. Do I think that Bruno could leave in the summer? I think so. I said that in the summer. I said that in last summer, and I still feel like it. Anyway, yeah. That's it. That's Bruno's conversation ended. Speaking of conversations that need to be ended. Should we go into a video on Southgate? Should we go and wind up United fans? So that even 2% of them think that there might be a chance that Gareth Southgate's going to be coming in. No. No. Oh, but Sam, Steve Holland came. No. End the conversation. Honestly, I just think for a lot of people, not just necessarily in football, but just arguing is just a default way of existence now. Why be content? Why be happy with something? Why just look at what you want to do? Right now, let's speak about all the other bloody things that I don't want to happen. Just get like riled up and worked up about it. It's exhausting, man. It's exhausting. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how some of you do it. Really, really don't. But we can now focus on football. All right. After, well, nearly 2 weeks now, I suppose. From last Monday with Ruben sacking to everything that's happened since. We've got a big game coming up on Saturday. The week after, we've got a big game coming up against Arsenal. Then we've got that game against Fulham. That's where the protest is going to be. Then a week later, we've got that game against Spurs at Old Trafford. Then 3 days later, away at West Ham. Good luck, Michael. All right? Good luck. He really won't have much time to instill any sort of principles. But the good thing is like, for example, if we rewound this and this was Ruben Amorim coming in on a Wednesday when we've got City on Sunday, he'd have absolutely sweet FA chance of getting anything across. I can't remember how long he had before that Ipswich game. Was it a week? I think it was a week. Carrick is coming in. The players have already been playing a 4-2-3-1 with Fletcher. That's a little bit handy. So that should make things a bit simpler. One fullback pushing forward and the rest tucking into a 3. Maybe you can work on that. The players, I suppose, have been used to playing a 3 at the back. I'll ask you all of your predictions tomorrow, all right? I'm going to get my starting 11 video done today because the game kicks off at 12:30 on Saturday. Really early kickoff. So if I was to release the starting 11 video on Friday afternoon like I normally do, there'd be less than a day for it to exist before it's old. So I'm going to give it 2 days to breathe. And look, of course, we could beat City. All right. I know on paper we could. If you want to look at a benefit, well, they played midweek against Newcastle. It was a tough game. They won. They've got some centre-backs out. Yeah, but they also managed to keep a clean sheet against Newcastle away from home. So I'll run through the team news for both sides. I'll run through the starting 11. How do you get Amad and Mbeumo in? I'll take a look at the 2 11s with and without them, I suppose. Or one of them. It's going to be a tricky choice. I agree with that, Rory. I don't think it's an obvious starting 11 for Carrick. In the same way that it was pretty obvious what the 11s were going to be under Fletcher for the 2 games. Because we didn't really have any options. There are some choices now to be made. We'll find out. I'm going to finish by repeating the conversation that we had at the start of today's show. I don't know what we can do as a community here, but we have a wonderful community here. We're all United fans. We all love our club. It was supposed to be different under Ineos. They've spectacularly got a lot of big decisions wrong. So I don't think the problems have been fixed, but the problem has changed from inaction to the wrong action. Different problem, same outcome, I suppose. If you want to get involved in anything that we might be able to do, I have no idea what it is, but reach out. Community at United People's TV, and I'm sure that conversations would exist in Discord as well. Let's see what we can do. I don't know what it means. It might be nothing, but it's worth trying. It's worth exploring. All right. Thank you all for tuning in today. Thank you to TRT World for absolutely mugging me off on Turkish TV. Right? I'll get him back. At some point, it'll be nice to go on Turkish TV and actually speak about how good United are. Just not got there yet. All right? Thank you all for tuning in. If you did enjoy it, please do consider subscribing if you're new. I'll see you tomorrow morning, and I'll see you at lunchtime today for the City Starting 11 video. Take it easy.